There's a moment most people don't talk about, when something in the relationship changes, but nobody says it out loud. Nothing dramatic happens, no argument, no confession, just a slow shift in behavior that makes you start questioning your own thoughts. You notice she's a little more distant, a little less present, a little harder to read, and suddenly you're doing something you never used to do, analyzing her. And the thing is, one of these signs alone means nothing, but all of them together means something you probably already sense. Not because you're paranoid, but because something feels different and you can't explain why. And the hardest part is this: most of the signs don't look like signs in the moment. They look like normal behavior with a different pattern underneath. So let's break that down, because sometimes the truth isn't loud, it's consistent. And consistency is what eventually exposes it. Number 1, she stops including you in her everyday life. At the start of most relationships, you're part of everything. Small updates, random thoughts, unimportant details. You don't even ask for them, they just come naturally. But then something shifts. You start hearing less. Not nothing, just less. Her day becomes something you find out in pieces instead of in real time. And when you ask, you get short answers. Fine, normal, nothing much. Yet somehow, other people seem to know what she's been up to, which makes you realize something uncomfortable. You're no longer being included the way you used to be. And exclusion rarely happens all at once. It happens quietly, one missing detail at a time. Number 2, you become the only one initiating effort. Think about it honestly. Who reaches out first? Who keeps conversations alive? Who checks in without a reason? Because in healthy relationships, effort usually moves both ways. But when it shifts too far in one direction, you start noticing silence where there used to be balance. Try something. Stop reaching out first. Not as a game, not as a test, just as an honest observation. And watch what happens in the silence. Because someone who is still emotionally invested will notice. They will reach out. They will check in. They will feel the gap. Someone who isn't, won't. And that silence will tell you more than any conversation could. Number 3, her phone behavior changes without explanation. This one is subtle, and that's why people ignore it. Not because it's small, but because it's easy to rationalize. She angles her phone away more often, places it face down, steps away to reply to messages she used to answer in front of you. And you don't need access to her phone to notice the shift. You just notice the behavior isn't the same anymore. And when behavior changes without explanation, your mind naturally starts filling in the gaps. Sometimes correctly, sometimes not, but always for a reason. And here is what people don't say about this one. It's not really about the phone. It's about the fact that she used to have nothing to hide, and now she does. That's the part that actually changes things. Number 4, her stories don't always match up. It's rarely one big lie. It's small inconsistencies, timing that doesn't line up, details that change slightly, things she forgets she already said. On their own, none of them feel serious, but together, they start forming a pattern you can't unsee. Because trust isn't destroyed by one moment, it erodes through repetition. And the most painful part is not catching the lie, it's realizing how comfortable they became telling it. Number 5, the future starts disappearing from conversations. There was a time when plans felt natural. Trips, events, next year ideas. We should. We'll go. We should try. But now those conversations feel less certain, more vague, more conditional. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know yet. And sometimes that's just life. But sometimes it's something else entirely. Because people don't plan deeply into a future they're unsure they're staying in. Which means you've been on her mind far more than she has let on. And she decided to stop including you in that future before she told you. Number 6, she's happier everywhere except around you. This one hits differently. You notice she laughs more with friends, seems lighter in other spaces, more energetic when she's out. But when she's with you, something changes. Not always openly, just enough to feel it. Shorter conversations, less eye contact, less emotional presence. And that contrast starts to create a question you can't ignore. Why does she feel most like herself everywhere except here? Sit with that question for a second, because the answer usually tells you everything. Number 7, small issues become bigger than they should be. Things that used to pass easily don't pass anymore. A small delay, a simple question, a harmless misunderstanding suddenly turns into tension. And over time, you start adjusting your behavior, carefully choosing words, avoiding triggers, walking on emotional eggshells, not because you changed, but because the reactions did. And that kind of shift usually points to something deeper than the argument itself. Number 8, you feel emotionally alone in her presence. This one is what people struggle to explain. You're together, same room, same space, same routine, but something feels missing. The emotional connection doesn't match the physical presence anymore. You stop sharing little moments, stop talking like you used to, stop feeling like a we in simple situations, and eventually you realize something painful. You're not missing time together. You're missing connection inside that time. And that difference matters more than most people admit. Now here's something important before we go further. Because not everything you just heard points to one conclusion. Not every relationship problem means someone else is involved. Sometimes it's stress. Sometimes it's distance. Sometimes it's life pulling two people in different directions. But when several of these patterns appear together, it's no longer something you can ignore. The goal isn't to assume the worst. It's to see clearly enough to have the right conversation. Because silence doesn't fix confusion. Clarity does. And relationships don't fall apart in one moment. They fall apart in the moments nobody talks about. And if any of this felt familiar, trust what you've been noticing. Because you're usually right before you're ready to admit it. So tell me this. Which of these signs do you think people notice too late?